Everybody wants to make money online, but not one individual person will tell you what tools they actually use to make their first 20 to 25K in 60 days. Hey everybody, my name is Tyler, and in this video, I'm going to show you what tools that I use to make my first 20 to 25,000 in just 60 days. If you don't believe me, here's the proof. With that said, let's dive right in. Where do I start? What are the tools that I need on this roadmap to my first 25,000? So for everybody, the tools are going to be different. However, I would like to lay out a few tools that I utilized myself to make my first 15,000 in 30 days. I teach on most of these tools, if not all of these tools, somewhere inside of the classroom. So I'm just going to take a minute or two to kind of lay out the tools that you need, knowing or trusting in the fact that you will take the time to go and watch the other lessons on these softwares in order to implement them properly for yourself. Okay, so an example, HighLevel has a ton of different uses, and HighLevel is basically what I utilized to book my live sessions, and I'll get into that in a second. So full disclosure, when I launched my product in the spring of 2024, my first 30 days was extremely difficult. Okay. And I thought that I was going to post it on Facebook and just get a bunch of people buying my product. And that's not the case. It was a TikTok product. It was regarding TikTok marketing, and people Facebook was like, no, you can't talk about TikTok on Facebook. I was like, okay. So what I did was I had a live session every other Friday. So I had 2 sessions a month, and I would invite people to grow their social media following on TikTok. So instead of promoting just my product, I invited people to a live session where I'll teach them how to grow their TikTok account. And I used a few different tools to do this, and I'm going to show them on the screen here in just a moment. And I had automations in place so that when somebody signed up for a session that was a live session, after Friday night session, and it would basically reset my automation for the following session. So basically I was doing marketing 2 weeks at a time. I was inviting people. I had a bunch of automations that would invite people via SMS and via email once they registered to attend. And then after every session that I had live, basically that reset. So I was like duplicating workflows, and there's much easier ways to do it. But this was just me inviting people to a live session. So if you're not somebody that is open to teaching somebody or teaching a group of people how to accomplish something that they're missing, know that you may not be in the right space to have your own business, or you may not be in the right space to have your own brand or product. Affiliate offers you could get away with if you don't want to teach people anything, right? There's a ton of different ways to market those. But if you're looking to make some serious money with your own brand and or your own product or service, know that you might need to actually get yourself in front of people, whether that's posting videos about your product or service or inviting people to a session with you, right? There's 99 ways to do things. I've said that multiple times in multiple lessons throughout this community. And, one of the 99 ways that I'm in right now is actually booking calls with people, like actually having a strategy session with them to show them the importance of continuing to grow, to show them the importance of continuing to work on the goals that they have. So with that said, I just want to walk you through some softwares that I used in my first 30 to 60 days to get to my first $25,000. The first one is going to be HighLevel. And there you could find all of these softwares that I mentioned in the affiliate marketplace inside of Skool. So if I go back to Skool and go to Classroom, affiliate marketplace, you could find these tools. There are a few tools that I might mention that may not have links in there, but I could tell you for the most part, they'll all be in there. So you don't have to go searching for them, making sure you have the right tools, etc. I'll also place them below this video in the resources section so that you have a link to get to those products and tools. So the first tool is HighLevel. I mentioned it before. There's a whole course called the Social Automation System that teaches you how to use HighLevel. But HighLevel is basically my way of doing everything. So creating a landing page, right? Here's a landing page for you. Social Success Mastery. This is built inside of HighLevel. All right. This is also built inside of HighLevel. Let's see. This is built inside of HighLevel. Even my website built inside of HighLevel. So HighLevel is the face of my brand other than me and my videos that I post and the ads that I run. But HighLevel is the place where I build all of my landing pages, all of my sales funnels, all of my websites, my clients. If they don't already have a website, I try to build it inside of HighLevel so that everything's in one place for me. So HighLevel is not only the place that I build my websites, but HighLevel is also the place that I build my automations. So when somebody fills out a form on my website, I have an automation set in play that when they submit a form, they get an email confirmation or they get a text confirmation, or both if you can. All right. Get that confirmation to them saying, hey, attend to this day. And then I have a series of steps in that automation that when the event is happening, they get emails a week before, a day before, the morning of, an hour before, 15 minutes before, and the time that we start of our session. So I have all of the automation built in this tool called HighLevel. So the landing page that people see, whether I'm running ads, whether I'm posting organic posts, and I'm sending people to a website, they're typically landing on a page that was built in HighLevel. And then when people take next steps on that website, filling out a form, selecting what date they want to attend, the seminar or webinar that I host for people, then that automates or triggers an automation of steps of email confirmation, SMS confirmation, reminder emails, and text to show up. And then I use HighLevel to not only build the funnel for my landing page for people signing up for my webinar or my seminar, but I also have HighLevel that I utilize to build my product pages, right? So when I'm talking to people and I attempt to upsell them with my product or service, I typically will I definitely build those pages that I send them to in HighLevel. And then all of my products and services are in HighLevel too. So if you bought the social automation system, there is multiple ways that you could get there. But the social automation system, the website was built on HighLevel. The product itself, the digital purchase of that product is done in HighLevel, right? So when somebody buys my product, all that stuff shows in HighLevel. Also, those funds go to Stripe. So I usually utilize Stripe. If I can utilize another service that that will save some money, I would if I were you as well. But Stripe is pretty convenient. Stripe has pretty straightforward fees with most of their products and services that they offer. So HighLevel was basically my landing page, my sales page, my thank you page, my automations that send out all of my emails and text messaging, all of that. So HighLevel is a very, very important part of my business. Now, if you want to learn how to utilize and plug HighLevel in further into your business, again, you could click somewhere in the resources around or below this video to sign up for HighLevel. And then there's a whole section inside of the Skool community that teaches you how to use HighLevel, the social automation system, teaches you how to use HighLevel, and so on. So with that, right? So that, you have access to a plethora of options with HighLevel. So that is the first tool that I will mention, is that there is a very big importance on the HighLevel piece. Now, there's other tools out there. You could have all your tools individually. You could have all your tools in one. There's other platforms that work differently. HighLevel's my way to go. It's my one-stop shop. So that's what I utilize to gather people for my seminar and then send them all the information. And then when I had the seminar, I utilized Zoom. You can sign up for a Zoom account. Zoom, most people know about it, zoom.us. And the reason why most people know about it is because Zoom kind of changed, or was there when the world changed during the pandemic in 2020, right? In 2021. And so Zoom has become a part of everyday life. There's other tools that you could use. Just Zoom seemed to be the easy one for me, the understandable one for me. So Zoom is the tool that I use to host my live seminars and or webinars, right? So we have where my product and service is offered, right? We would host the call on Zoom, and then when that session was over, there would be automations again in HighLevel inviting people to buy the product that I was offering at the end of my seminar or webinar, I should say. And people that bought were offered bonuses. People that bought before 11 o'clock that night were offered bonuses. And some of those bonuses included me walking them through to set up HighLevel 2 or 3 days after they bought their product, the TikTok course specifically. And then there were also offered some bonus trainings with me, etc. Right? So a lot of people were offered some bonuses. Now, whether they utilize those bonuses and show up or not, that's on them. However, right, know that I ran a webinar to sell my product, and in selling my product, I then had automations that would then carry through maybe about 3 or 4 days after the webinar to basically push people to the product, push people to buy. And so these are the tools that I used for almost all of what I was doing. Now, when somebody would buy, my course at the time was hosted inside of HighLevel. So HighLevel has a members area. And again, you go through this inside of the social automation system course area. But it had a members area that I had uploaded all of my videos and trainings so people could basically, get their own account. They could sign in. They can watch the lessons, it marks them as complete, etc. If you ever taken an online digital course, you know what I'm talking about. However, I moved to Skool in March of 2025 so that all of my training was in one place. All of my affiliate links were in one place, affiliate offers for people. All of my community is one place, because at the time when I was running this webinar, I was inviting people to join a Facebook group. And Facebook groups are, in my opinion, one of the older ways to go about staying connected with people. Facebook's super popular. Almost everybody has a Facebook that is old enough to have a Facebook. And it just is, whether people use it or not is one thing. However, now that I'm using Skool, so if somebody was to buy my TikTok course and or the Social Success Mastery, like All Access Pass, they get access to the Skool. The Skool has all the training. The Skool has other people that are interested in the same ideals, right? It's not limited to Facebook. It's not limited to a group. It's its own app with its own training inside of it, its own community, etc. And we'll talk a little bit about that when I get closer to the end of this lesson, because I'll tell you what tools I'm using now to make my money. So used HighLevel, used Skool, and then that's how I made my first XYZ amount of money prior to moving to Skool and all of that. And at the time, I was also providing people PDF documents that went along with their training. So not only did they have a visual training with me where I taught them just kind of how you're watching a video now, but I also had a PDF document attached to each lesson. So people would have a physical or digital version of instructions in case they got lost with the video. And the tool that I used for that was called scribehow.com. And what Scribehow, or it's called Scribe, what Scribe would do is I would record my sessions like I'm recording them now, and wherever I clicked on the screen, it would take a screenshot of that, and it would actually insert what I was doing on the screen and typing on my keyboard into a PDF document. So I could quickly export the PDF document and then upload that PDF document to each lesson that I taught. Now, scalability wise, transparency wise, I had at the time only 20 lessons in the TikTok course. Now the TikTok course has over 40 lessons, and now I also don't limit myself to just TikTok. I teach this $25,000 roadmap. I teach the Marketing Mastery Launchpad. I have the affiliate marketplace. I teach Google ads, YouTube ads, Facebook, and Meta ads are taught by my good friend Elliot Rashad. My significant other Kelly teaches CapCut, and then instructions are coming for LinkedIn and X, which is formerly Twitter. So now I have over 200 lessons that I'm teaching on, and you can only imagine that scalability wise, like having a PDF document for each lesson and keeping that updated when all the user interface changes on a consistent basis for all those platforms is pretty difficult to do. However, know that a lot of people might like having physical copies of your instructions, especially when first starting out. People loved it. For myself, they would download it, so they had a physical copy to actually follow along with the video. So I utilized those three tools, were pretty big. For my presentations, I currently use Keynote because I'm a heavy Apple user. I don't really use Windows devices like at all. I don't think I've used a Windows device since 2015, so 10 years now. I haven't really used a Windows device. However, what I used at the time was Microsoft PowerPoint. Super easy to use, super simple to use to throw a PowerPoint together. And now Microsoft has a lot of AI built in, so some of your PowerPoint presentations could very well be built for you. So that's what I used for my presentations. And now, again, it's Keynote. So once I did that, the idea came into my mind of letting me actually sit there and run a webinar on the go. So instead of me having to work 2 weeks till I teach a webinar, and then the day after I'm already hitting the ground running to teach or to get people into the next webinar. And then the day after that next webinar, I'm hitting the ground running to get people into the next one. I decided to automate my webinar. There's a lot of platforms out there. There are some that are better than others. Realistically, the pricing that I could deal with when I was just starting out was for WebinarKit. And WebinarKit allowed me to upload a pre-recorded lesson, which I absolutely loved, of me teaching my TikTok course at the time. I uploaded it, and I was able to get my leads that were signing up for this sent directly to HighLevel. And if I go in here and sign in, I'll show you some of the results that I had when I first was running it. Now, at the time, it was called the TikTok Ads Masterclass and the TikTok Ads Mastery. Now it's called the TikTok Growth Mastery. It's been rebranded quite a few times. But when I ran it, I had 91 registrants. I had 31 attendees. So I had about a 30% attendee rate. And what that does is, let me show you a little bit of what it looks like on the inside. So I'm able to put in the webinar duration. I could have a custom domain. I can have a brand image, instant watch sessions. So like people that like register, they'll be given the opportunity to jump in live, which is super cool. I'm sorry, rephrase. The just-in-time sessions is jump in live right then and there, and it would restart the webinar for them whenever they jumped in. It would start it from the beginning. The instant watch sessions gave them the option to watch the webinar then and there. And then the scheduled dates that you see here towards the bottom, I offered the webinar every day at 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 7 p.m. so that when people signed up, they could either, again, choose a just-in-time, be like, hey, join the webinar that's happening now, or, hey, you could pick from these other times that we run this webinar. Super cool. And then at the end of the webinar, I would upsell my potential clients to buy the TikTok Ads Mastery course. So again, that's what it was called back then. And what a platform like WebinarKit allows you to do is give people the flexibility to join the webinar whenever. And then you could also like put comments in. So at a certain time when I start talking about the TikTok Mastery course, I could have a link dropped in the webinar chat that says, hey, join our webinar. A link dropped in the chat that I get that will say, hey, buy the course in full, get your all access pass now. And the course was $9.97 then, and now it's doubled the price because it's double the lessons. So, but this was a tool that I used to automate that. So if you get into the space of, hey, I have my own brand, I have my own product that I want to launch, I want to teach people, but I also don't have the time to do all of the automation work that you're talking about, Tyler. I don't have the time to build all the automations in HighLevel. I don't have the time to show up every other Friday night to teach a lesson. Listen, I get it. So you could automate it with WebinarKit. There's other platforms like Webinar Fuel, but if I went to, if I logged out of here real quick and showed you the pricing for WebinarKit, right? So you have $57 a month annually, as low as $19 a month if you pay upfront annually for the year, right? You could also pay for it one time. So there's a few different options there, but if you go to something like Webinar Fuel and look at pricing for Webinar Fuel, you're looking at like without this 25% off, even if it was $100 a month, you're looking at almost double the price, right? For Webinar Fuel, right? Monthly is $197 for Webinar Fuel. Now, again, they all have their pros and cons, right? So you get 20,000 email sends per month, whereas Webinar Fuel, you get 1,000 email credits per month. I don't know what is considered a credit, but it looks like that WebinarKit has 20 times the amount of email credits, right? So just weigh your pros and cons when you're choosing which software that you decide that you want to have. So let me clear some of my tabs. So I automated most of the course last year, and then my focus became partnership. And the partnership piece was kind of big for me. I had my first partnership in July of 2024. I launched my product in May of 2024. So, I was looking at a partnership in the first 2 months. And it was a great individual that allowed me to partner with them. I didn't get the results that I wanted to get. However, for your first partnership, I can't really complain. I was at least granted a fantastic opportunity to get in front of people and teach. And it was pre-recorded. I was in Disneyland at the time when the pre-recorded session, people were able to watch it. It just so happens that the pre-recorded session that they were watching to learn about my TikTok course was the wrong session that was uploaded by the partners team, and that's okay. But partnership is something that I focused on. and partnership could very well be in the cards for you. However, this is about tools, so we'll talk about partnerships in a different lesson. So fast forward to 2025, beginning of 2025, I was, of course, having these conversations with partners, trying to launch different things. And I decided that there was a quicker way for me to make progress with my recordings and such. And when it came to uploading my lessons to HighLevel, I had to upload each one at a time manually. So I would record on Loom. And then, that's, I guess we'll talk about that in a different lesson. But basically, I utilize Loom to record my lessons, and then they're recorded to Loom automatically. And then this new platform that I'm using, Skool, that I used since March of 2025, allows me to just use a link and embed it into the platform versus uploading it. So HighLevel, I had to manually upload each lesson to the platform. So when I would record 5 lessons, you could imagine, record 5 lessons, and then I would have to download them from Loom and then upload them to HighLevel. And that process just took forever. So then I had the Facebook community that people were in, and I just wanted one place where all of the training was. I wanted one place where all of the community members could be that wasn't on Facebook, especially for those who didn't have a Facebook or didn't utilize it much, right? I wanted a platform that all the members could meet in one place. I wanted a map area so that if I'm in a certain area that has a ton of members, I would love to get together with members, right? When I first launched this Skool community, it was the TikTok Growth Mastery Skool community. I went from 50 or so members in the beginning of May 2025 to 270 plus members by the end of May 2025. I had a video go viral on TikTok, but I had to rebrand. And there's more in other lessons about my rebranding. But Skool became a platform for me because it was really easy to utilize and have everybody in one place. It was also easy to monetize the group. So with Skool, people can find my community and they could sign up for a 7-day trial, and then they could, pay per month, whatever the price is at the time. Whereas my Facebook community was exclusively people that just bought my TikTok course. And I wanted more people to have access to the community. And I didn't want them to have to pay a full price in order for them to get some training and join the community. It just was a lot. And I wanted a place that was easier to upload and transfer my lessons, especially with how robust the classroom is now. And so I switched over to Skool in March 2025. And at the time, I wish I had pictures that were readily available right now to show you what the community used to look like. But the classroom just had a TikTok Growth Mastery Pro, which was the 20 lessons on TikTok growth. I had a TikTok Growth Mastery Basic, which was a handful of lessons that taught people how to get leads so they could get results, but also just enough to get by, not the full access to the course. And then I had the community call area. And then I ventured into creating a TikTok Shop affiliate section. But at that point, I was like, I'm just rebranding, and I'll just have all the TikTok lessons under one TikTok course and not 5 different TikTok courses. So you'll see when it comes to Classroom, we have all of these resources in here now, right? So where everybody starts, Social Media Mastery Basic. So it takes some lessons from other pro level courses and puts them in here so people, again, can get results. The $25,000 roadmap, which is where you're watching this recording right now. The replays from our community, our affiliate marketplace, which has a ton of different affiliate softwares in here. So that one, you could either utilize them to help your business, or 2, offer these programs yourself. So that you could make monthly recurring revenue with most of these platforms. So back to the Classroom, a Marketing Mastery Launchpad. how to basically the basics of marketing and building out your own offer, whether that's an affiliate offer that you're going to be promoting or whether that's your own offer. The Business Breakthrough Bootcamp, CapCut, Google, YouTube, LinkedIn, Meta, social automation system, which is about HighLevel, TikTok marketing, and the Unfiltered and Unshakable Summit. So there's a lot of options in here. And if I stuck with a platform that I had a Facebook community, and then I had the training inside of HighLevel, and then I had affiliate offers inside of a PDF, like it just didn't make sense to have all these platforms for a bunch of different products and services. So you'll see if I come inside of, here's an example. We'll go back to the affiliate marketplace, right? I could edit this, and the video link can be a YouTube, Loom, Vimeo, or Wistia link. So instead of me having to record, then download the recording and then upload it to HighLevel, I could just take the shareable link from YouTube or Loom or Vimeo or Wistia and paste it in here. And then when I paste it in here, it's instantaneous. It will load here, right? I could also now upload my own video. However, just sharing from Loom is much easier for me. So I'm going to cancel on that. So I found a platform that I could have all of my community in one place. I can monetize the community. So if people find me on the internet and they find the community, they could join the community without having to buy any of my products, right? There's the option to like embed my videos versus having to download, record, edit, download, then upload, and then all the things, right? And then it has the map so we could see members on the map. And then it has the calendar of my upcoming call with the community, which this, I don't know why this is called the first, because it's not the first. We're not going to, I already had the first. All right, I'm going to save this. And so, there's a ton of flexibility with Skool. And with Skool, people can create their own communities. People can invite other people. So if you're a member of this community, you could go to your settings inside of Skool, find your affiliate link for the Social Success Mastery, and refer people. And when you refer people, you get 20% of whatever they pay. So if they're paying $150 a month, you get 20% of that. If they're paying $300 a month, you get 20% of that, right? So there's a ton of options. And that's really what I utilize now, is I utilize partnerships with, still going through with partnerships, but I utilize Skool. And I ran the Unfiltered and Unshakable Summit in September 2025. And at the time of this recording, I don't know if I'm going to continue running those summits. I might just revert back to the Business Breakthrough Boot Camps that I used to have. But with that said, now I'm taking a little bit of a different approach with my tools. So Skool is mostly the tool that I use for my hosting and my calls, right? I can also, I use Zoom for calling sometimes still. I don't really use WebinarKit because I haven't re-recorded a lesson that teaches a lump sum of what the Social Success Mastery is about. I'm testing the waters for different options. I would love to just have a YouTube channel and refer people to the Skool community from YouTube. I mean, there's a ton of options in building your business. You need to utilize what tools are valuable to you. And if the tool is not working, I suggest moving on with a tool that would work better for you. And so I know this was a little bit of a long lesson, but that is the basics of what I used when I launched. And at the time where I made my first 25,000, at the time I was using just HighLevel and Zoom and PowerPoint. That's it. I recorded my lessons with Loom. So I did record my lessons with Loom for my TikTok course. But again, I downloaded them and uploaded them to HighLevel. And so now when somebody buys my Social Success Mastery or buys anything for that matter outside of Skool, I use Zapier, and Zapier gives them access sends them an invite to the Skool community and then gives them access to certain areas of the classroom. If somebody's inside of the Skool community and they see a locked or a price tag on any of these courses, they could buy the course, and the course will unlock for them right then and there, right? There's no automations with that. And then that gets paid out through Stripe. And if you're somebody that's in this community and you refer somebody, not only do you get 20% of what they pay per month to be part of the community, but you also get 20% of any of the courses that they buy. So keep that in mind. That's a huge incentive. Like, you get 20%, and that's at the time of this recording, 20% of referrals to the community. And then you get 20% of the courses that they buy inside of the community. And guess what? If they create a community in Skool, then you get 40% of whatever they pay to Skool per month. So you have a lot of options there. But again, pick what tools work best for you. I would start with HighLevel, at least to be able to collect information and automate a series of events. So automate emails and text to people depending on what options or what business model you're going with. So for me, early on, it was webinar and teaching my TikTok course. And now for me, a year and a half later, it is not just TikTok. It is all being successful in all social platforms and in your social life, and partnering with people to teach people that, and this Skool community, right? Not really so much teaching live webinars every other week. So keep these things in mind when you are launching your business. But that's how I made my first $25,000 in my first 60 days of launching my product. Was just organic posting. It wasn't even paid advertising. It was organic posting on Facebook that got me my leads into my calls. And I would literally get 30 people registered for the call, and 14 people would show up and 8 people bought my first webinar, right? And that could be you. You have the ability to put systems in place that if you post that you want to teach people about something and you get them into a session and say, hey, this is what I have to teach you, and you teach them, and then you say, hey, this is what I have to offer you to continue your progress with this. Boom, there you go. You could do the same thing. All results are subjective to how much work you decide to put into your offer, your platform, your affiliate offer, whatever that looks like. Thank you for watching that entire video. Now listen, if you're excited about growing your business, your pages, and your revenue, hit the subscribe bell around this video. Also, do not forget to join the Skool community. Again, the first 7 days is free. Hit the link below this video. It will take you to the Skool sign up page to register, and I'll see you on the inside.